4 WWE wrestlers who are in danger of being released next. In this video, I'm going to name you all 4 why I think they are on the chopping block and why I would be concerned if I was them. Not to say that I think that they should be released, but the fact that there is a likelihood that they could be. But WWE, they made headlines yet again by recently releasing and or opting not to renew the deals of 3 WWE talents. In Baron Corbin's case, you had him have his deal opted out. WWE decided not to renew his deal, leaving him on the free agent market with no non-competes. You had Tegan Knox and Indy Hartwell, who were released. They are on non-competes. So that leads us to today's video, because up first is Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews has not done anything of note in years, if ever. Despite his athletic prowess, Apollo Crews has struggled to maintain a consistent presence on WWE programming. His biggest push came during the pandemic era, where he portrayed a royalty-ass gimmick. His Intercontinental title run was there, but it wasn't anything meaningful. That was his peak in WWE, and he hasn't come close to matching that since then. His character has undergone multiple reinventions, yet none of them have significantly restored or even resonated with the audience, leading to a sporadic appearances and limited storylines. While it is a shame that he has never been able to connect with the fans, it's fair to assume that he might be next to be released should WWE decide to release more. Keep in mind that he was actually the tag team partner of Baron Corbin prior to Baron Corbin being released. They were working on SmackDown. They were doing Dark Night matches. Sure, he's a very likable guy. You would think that would resonate with the fans, making him a babyface. And for the most part, he has been a babyface in WWE. But for whatever reason, it's never clicked. I don't think he's necessarily the best fit in AEW, maybe a TNA. But it'll be interesting to see where they go with Apollo Crews. Up next is the Good Brothers. And I want to preference this by stating that Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, they're probably not going to be released in the next, say, 6 months, because Carl Anderson is currently on the sidelines with an injury. He underwent surgery, and he has stated that he is out until after WrestleMania. So they're not going to release him while he's injured, obviously. But afterwards, I would be a little concerned. Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, they are veterans who are no longer needed. As members of the OC, Gallows and Anderson have faced challenges in securing a prominent role within WWE's tag team division ever since their return in 2022. Now, they have been used on an inconsistent basis to the point where they've just started randomly showing up on NXT or SmackDown. I get they are good for locker room morale, but when I watch them on television, I don't see what others do. I thought they were a better fit in an AEW or a New Japan and WWE. They're just there. Even going back to their initial run in WWE, even when they are paired with AJ Styles, AJ is so good that when you see them on television with him, you just question, why are they on television with a guy that is literally 2 levels above them? I'm sure they're nice people. They come across as hilarious and good brothers. I mean, that's their freaking tag team name. But in the ring, I just don't see it. And I think at a time where WWE is consistently trying to get more people over, younger people over, I don't see where Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows fit in that. But we'll see. We'll see where they land, how they're used. But it'll be very, very interesting to see what they do next with Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson in WWE. Ah, yes. Giovanni Vinci. He has floundered ever since being kicked out of Imperium. Everyone remembers he has lost in 3 seconds in his re-debut. If Apollo Crews is likely to be on the chopping block, then what wrestler who lost in 3 seconds to him, what does his future hold? Because Vinci was a strong member of Imperium with Ludwig Kaiser and Gunther, particularly in NXT UK, NXT, where he is a former tag team champion. But once Gunther gained traction as a main event talent and Kaiser kind of went off and did his own thing, although we still align with Gunther, they pulled the plug on Vinci's time with the stable. Ever since he got kicked out of Imperium, the demolition of Kaiser, Vinci, he has done nothing. He re-debuted on SmackDown a few months ago with a new gimmick, only to lose to Balor in 3 seconds, as I stated. He lost the rematch in over a minute and hasn't been seen since, or at least as the recording of this video, which does not bode well for his chances long term. Look, is he a good wrestler? Yes. Does he have the look? No. Does he have charisma? No. Can he talk? No. Does he have the character? No. That plays a factor in your decision-making, A, to book him on television, B, to give him on a prominent role on television, and C, keep him around. That's a problem with Vinci. That's a problem with a lot of guys. Why is Kaiser in the role that he is in? Because he can speak. He has a charisma-esque talent, and the guy can go in the ring. You put that all together, there's a reason to keep Kaiser around. There's not really a reason to keep Vinci around. There's a ceiling, and it's quite low, in my opinion, and I don't think that's enough for WWE to keep him around in the long term. I think if you had him stay in a tag team with Kaiser, then yeah, you would have a little bit more legs to him. But that's simply not the case. They're not using him as a tag team. They're using him as an enhancement, a jobber, if you will. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a part of that for anyone on any roster. You need guys to get over other guys. Not everyone can be main eventers. Not everyone can be upper carders. But at the same time, you have to read the room and go, okay, this isn't working. We have to do something else. There's a lot of talent on WWE's roster where you go and you look and you say, okay, this wrestler is a good talker, but he can't wrestle, or she can't wrestle, or they can wrestle, but they can't talk, or they can talk and they can wrestle pretty decently, but they don't have it. They don't have the charisma. WWE has so much talent across Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and then even developmental. Everyone looks at NXT as developmental. It's not. It's a third brand. There are levels to this game. So you have the main roster, then you have NXT, and then you have developmental talent who are either A, just working house shows, or B, has never really stepped foot inside of the Swerve Circle under the bright lights in front of a live crowd. So if that's the case, then you have to really focus in, hone in on, okay, is this person, do we have big things? Do we see big things in them? Yes, then we'll keep them. If not, or if there's a shadow of a doubt in your mind about this talent, I think it's a situation in which you have to let them go. Because if not, you would then have so much of a bloated roster. And I think AEW faces this as well, where it's like, can this person draw me money? I don't care whether or not they can put on a 5-star classic that gets Uncle Dave Meltzer to rave for them. Can they draw me money? And if you can, then you have a spot on the roster. If you can't draw money, if you can't draw interest, then I think the question remains, what are we doing with this talent? Anyways, those are the 4 stars that I think are on the chopping block in WWE.